Hi, I'm Amy, and today I want to share something with you that was a game changer at my own church's children's ministry. But first, I want to ask you a question. How do you prepare before you serve at your children's ministry? Probably like this, getting your Bible lesson ready, the crafts, maybe your games. But have you ever taken time to consider how you're going to respond when a child is being disruptive or even disrespectful? Probably not. The problem with being unprepared is we're often reactive. And I noticed this at my own church and thought we can do better. So we came up with a plan, a discipline strategy. We wanted to equip our volunteers to deal with these situations well, with respect, and also using these teachable moments. We also wanted to make sure that we had a safe place where every child feels valued and respected. Here's what we did. We started by understanding what discipline is. For so long, we've treated it as controlling children's behavior so that they sit still and listen. But did you know that discipline and discipleship have the same root? To learn. What if discipline was more about teaching children how to be like Jesus and how to be a part of a community of faith? If you stick with me, I'm going to share with you some practical ways that you can do this in your own children's ministry, and maybe you can even come up with your own discipline strategy. It starts by being proactive. We want to set up a culture and a community where everyone feels valued. Here are 3 ways we're proactive. The first is clear expectations. Kids need boundaries, don't we all? And so we want to have general expectations. These are for always. For example, rules or values. For us, it's the word respect. We also want to give them specific expectations. What do you want them to do right now? If we're on a Zoom call and I'm talking, I might say, I want your microphones muted while I'm sharing the Bible story. We also need to hold to those expectations. Sometimes I'm a bit strict, but we want to make sure that we're honoring those and setting them up for success. Speaking of expectations, we need to understand children's abilities. They're not just miniature adults. And so we talked about child development as a team. For example, children have short attention spans, and so we plan accordingly. And if I've been getting extra passionate about a Bible story and I go a little bit longer than I had planned, and I notice my kids are starting to get fidgety, rather than asking them to stop moving, I might recognize I've been talking too long and move on. Number 2 is we want to model expectations. Sounds pretty simple, but it's very effective. For example, if the children are worshiping, instead of watching them and telling them that they need to do actions, get in there, do the actions with them, worship alongside them, listen to the Bible story, play the games, do the activity crafts. Be a great example. Now, volunteers, we're not the only ones who can be modeling the expectations to the children. Other children do a fabulous job of this, and it's so great to catch a child doing just that and celebrate it. And something I'm trying to be extra intentional is when I notice that some kids aren't quite doing yet what I've asked, but some are. Instead of asking them to come, I celebrate those who are doing what I've asked. It gets their attention. Number 3 is relationships. As a community of faith, relationships are really important. Here are 3 things to consider. First, their relationship with Jesus, the most important. Number 2 is their relationship with us as leaders. This means being intentional. For example, we're going to log into Zoom earlier so we're organized, or come to church extra early so that by the time the children start to come online or into the classroom, we're able to greet them with, for example, a joke, like this one. What's the most dangerous animal to bring on the ark? A woodpecker. You want to be extra intentional in building these relationships. Also, if you have a child that maybe is a little bit more challenging, make an extra effort. I had one of those. I went to their hockey game, sat with their family at potlucks, and it made a huge difference. The last relationship that you want to focus on is between the children. This is so important. And often we get caught up wanting to make sure that we have the lesson done and the games and the activities done, and we forget to make time for the children to just be together. Plan for that and allow it to happen. I saw this actually happen with my own son who loves school, and we were doing this stretch of online learning, and he was not enjoying it. I was like, but all your friends are there. But he said, but I'm not talking to them. It was only the kids talking to the teacher. It was only when the music teacher came on and put them into breakout groups to work collaboratively on a project that I saw my son light up as he got to talk to his friends again. So be intentional about making space for relationships. So we're going to be proactive and set everyone up for success, but there's still going to be times where we have to step in. The first question is to ask ourselves, is this a major or a minor issue? Here's what we do. If it's a minor situation, usually it's because children are being disruptive or they're talking. What we want to do is we want to help them check back into what the rest of the group is doing. There are 3 different responses that we can choose from that escalate depending on the situation and how often we've spoken to the child. The first is a nonverbal cue. Often eye contact and a smile works, or proximity, standing near them. The next level up is a verbal cue. I often start with a general reminder of the expectation. Sometimes I will find creative ways to bring the child back into the conversation too. For example, if some of my kids in the back are talking and I know they're great readers, I'll ask them to read the Bible verse on the screen beside me, instead of asking them to answer a question that they obviously did not hear while they were talking. I'm not trying to embarrass them. I'm trying to bring them back into the conversation. Finally is a physical cue. You move them. If something beside them is a distraction or their friend is distracting and you've given them a few other reminders and it's just not working, well then you want to help them be successful by taking them away from the distraction, physically moving them. The next is a major situation. This is a huge teachable opportunity where we want to help the child learn from what has happened. Often this is a situation of bullying, or they've been really disrespectful, or maybe even physical contact. What happens is I move the child away so that I can talk to them. And I can't always talk to them right away. And so sometimes they have to wait a few minutes while we get the kids ready in the next activity. Then I go to talk to them. I do not go to blame and shame. What we want to do is we want to help the child understand what happened. And I start by asking them just that, what happened? And then I listen. Yes, sometimes I get excuses and finger pointing, but usually we can come to an understanding of what happened and why it was a problem. And the thing with children is that often behavior is a sign of something deeper. And we want to help them make that connection. Oftentimes things happen because they're hungry or tired or bored, or there's some social things going on. And when we can help children identify the deeper issue, we can then say to them, your feelings are okay, but how you handled them were not. How can we do better next time? This is a huge teachable opportunity for children. And then what we want to do is we want to say to them, who was impacted by this? See, in church, we're part of a community and we value that and we want to nurture that. And we want to help children understand that when they do something, it impacts the community. Maybe they hurt somebody's feelings or actually hurt them. Maybe when they threw the crayons on the floor, well, now other kids can't use the crayons because they're all on the floor. We want to help them make the connection between their actions and who it impacted, and then challenge them to make it right. Maybe that means facilitating a conversation between the child and the person that they were rude to so that they can apologize. Or helping the child pick up the crayons from the floor so that other kids can color. Whatever it is, we want to help the child understand what the problem was, how to do better next time, and make sure that they're restoring any broken relationships or damage that was done as a result. This is also important. And then we finish with a prayer because we want to keep Jesus a part of everything. Now you're probably wondering, what about consequences? We aim to have natural consequences as often as possible. And when something escalates to that level, we usually have time as a team to talk about it. But a natural consequence would be, if I've been rude to my friend, well, now that's a little bit tense and we're gonna have to apologize and work through that. Or if I've thrown my juice down on the floor, well, now I have to clean it up and I don't have juice anymore. If for some reason a child's not ready to apologize or to see what they have done is wrong, then we might have to talk to them about the value of community and how we want to respect everyone. And that's when we have to ask ourselves, are they ready to be a part of this community at this time? Or should we maybe have them sit with their parents or an adult in service? Those are tough questions and we'll deal with those on a situational basis, but they don't usually come up. Our goal always is to help children be successful. We want to be proactive. We want to help them when they're distracted by bringing them back into the lesson with opportunities to meet the expectations. And then when they need a little bit of help, we want to come in and use those teachable moments to teach them how to be like Jesus and how to be a part of a community of faith. This was just a short video on a very deep and complicated topic. We'd love to hear your feedback. What works for you? Drop it in the comments below. If this video has been helpful, share it with others on your team. And if you want to continue the conversation or see how we could bring training to your own church or help you come up with your own discipline strategy, reach out. We'd love to chat. Thank you.